Hello there, welcome to this special episode of The World This Week, signing on News Now. Rahul Gandhi sticks to a talk on Gautam Adani stock issue as Shinde Sena takes a swipe at the Congress worries expressed over opposition unity. NCP Chief Sharad Pawar says the differences are natural among parties. A day after National Congress Party, that is NCP Chief Sharad Pawar, distanced himself from the opposition's campaign against Gautam Adani, the Congress on Saturday stepped up its attack and reiterated its demand for a joint parliamentary committee, that is JPC Pro, into the Adani Group. Meanwhile, Pawar stood by his remarks on Saturday, but asserted that it would not impact opposition unity. He said that when several parties come together, they will have different opinions and discussions can be held. Joining the fray, Congress General Secretary Jairam Ramesh said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's policy has been to derail, distort, divert and defame. According to him, a JPC probe was best positioned to investigate the stock market scam. Sharad Pawar had opined that a Supreme Court monitored committee would be sufficient to investigate Hindenburg report. Alleging the issue, Congress leadership maintained that the Bharatiya Janata Party was trying to divert attention from the real questions such as who invested rupees 20,000 crore in Adani companies. Rahul Gandhi asked on Twitter who invested rupees 20,000 crore Bemani money in Adani's companies. He also alleged that in another tweet that the relationship between the Adani Group and China was very deep. Isn't this posing a threat to our national security? Israel starts calling off army reservists after latest deadly attacks. The Italian was killed and the 7 other tourists were wounded when an Israeli Arab plowed a car into pedestrians on the Tel Aviv seafront on Friday evening. Israel began calling up police and army reservists on Saturday after separate attacks killed 3 persons, including an Italian tourist in Tel Aviv and the occupied West Bank. Despite appeals for restrained, violence has surged since the Israeli police clashed with the Palestinian inside Jerusalem's flashpoint Al-Aqsa Mosque on Wednesday, with Israel bombarding both Gaza and Lebanon in response to rocket fire by Palestinian militants. The Italian was killed and the 7 other tourists were wounded when an Israeli Arab plowed a car into pedestrians on the Tel Aviv seafront on Friday evening and flipped over before being shot dead. The police and emergency services said Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni named the dead man as Alessandro Perini, 36 years old. The police identified the driver as a 45-year-old from the Arab town of Kfar Qasim in central Israel. The terrorist was neutralized, a spokesman told AFP. Palestinian Islamist movement Hamas, which rules Gaza, said the attack was a natural and legitimate response to Israel's aggression in the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Earlier on Friday, 2 British Israeli sisters aged 16 and 20 were killed and their mother seriously wounded when their car was fired on in the Jordan Valley in the occupied West Bank. The army said it had launched a manhunt for the perpetrators. The town of Yabad overnight, the army said on Saturday. At least 60 students were poisoned in a girls' school in the town of Haftkel in the rich southwestern province of Kurdistan. State television's IB news agency cited a local official as saying, since late November, many schools, mostly for girls, have been affected by sudden poisoning incidents from gases or toxic substances, in some cases causing fainting and hospitalization among the students. Now news from Sports Desk. Gujarat Titans would be eyeing a hat-trick of wins while Kolkata Knight Riders would be keen. Their winning momentum going on and when the 2 sides clash in the Indian Premier League. And there were a few positives for the Kolkata side, and with Shardul Thakur and Rinku Singh among the runs. A stable batter at number 3 is still a concern, but Jason Roy's arrival will be a big boost. KKR blended right and left-handers, and meanwhile Well, Shai Sudarshan has done a commendable job in filling up the gap left by Kane Williamson at number 3 for Gujarat. And both teams have been robust in death bowling and conceding less than 10 runs between overs and 20 so far. And apart from this, there are a few headlines hovering around. Srinidhi Deccan holds Bengaluru FC to a draw. And India advances in AFC Women's Olympic qualifiers. And Chelsea crashes on Lampard return. Newcastle posts win. That's all for the time being. Dear viewers, if you have any comments, suggestions, etc., please email us on abcnewsagtlive01@gmail.com. Please stay safe and keep watching AGT Live 24/7. Thank you all for being with me. Bye-bye. And have a great Sunday. Namaskar. Kalankar. Namaste. AGT Live 24/7 presents The World This Week. The World This Week presented by AGT Live 24/7. AGT Live 24/7 presents The World This Week. The World This Week presented by AGT Live 24/7. AGT Live 24/7 presents The World This Week. The World This Week presented by AGT Live 24/7. AGT Live 24/7 presents The World This Week.